From reading the headlines to becoming one herself, I'm being joined by Shaili Chopra, the founder of SheThePeople and Gytree.
Women are not looking to be empowered. I think they are empowered by birth. Gender equality was a conversation, but it was a conversation for the UN.
Everyone's talking about women empowerment. What's so different? What's so great?
Yeah. Only last year, which is 2025, total number of CEOs who are women have finally outnumbered the number of CEOs who are called John.
What really is the truth with journalism and media today?
So I think journalism and truth are both at unease with each other. What not to do as a founder is a lesson you should learn before you know what to do as a founder.
From reading the headlines to becoming one herself, today on the FoundHers Podcast, I'm being joined by Shaili Chopra, the founder of SheThePeople and Gytree. Hi Shaili, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. It's good to be here.
Great, I'm very glad that you're here. I'm also a little nervous because I'm obviously interviewing an experienced podcaster or experienced person who's been interviewing so many people and been on so many panels. So it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
I think my main vision, like I told you, right, with this entire episode is to kind of dive a lot more into everything that you have kind of experienced in the last few years. One of the biggest topic of that being women empowerment. So kind of let's just get into that, right? Women empowerment has been something that we've been speaking on for generations and generations. And we're seeing the shift. It's slow, but the shift is happening. Just want to know from you, when you started SheThePeople to now, what is that shift that you have seen in today's women that you didn't see back then, and obviously SheThePeople played a critical role in bringing that shift?
Yeah, firstly, great to be here, and don't be nervous, you're doing great. I think women are not looking to be empowered. I think they are empowered by birth. We somewhere lose the plot and kind of make them feel that there is a need for somebody else to define how they need to find their rights, find their voice, find this space. So I think fundamentally that's problematic. I often wear a t-shirt around in my work day. It's called Created Equal. I think you're only disrupted with equality once you start growing and society says hello to you. I set up SheThePeople now in 2015. The preamble of the Constitution starts with the words, "We the people." And for the life of me, when I was on primetime television, I used to say, where are the women? Where are the women? Where are the women? And, so finally when we did coin the term SheThePeople, for us, it was like, how can you be successful as, we the people if you don't have SheThePeople in it? Because you're 50% of the population, you're 50% of the vote, you're 50% of the voice technically, but you have none of that, right? And even more important, you also raise the other 50%.
Right.
And so I think the question on the table really was that why is such an important constituency of our world so deeply ignored, and what can we do about it? So SheThePeople came about at a time when the idea of storytelling and community was not even in existence, right? Gender equality was a conversation, but it was a conversation for the UN. It wasn't a conversation for you and me. And I think for me, the idea was to take it into the households, to take it into places where people would not find it. And also kind of make people uncomfortable. I like the idea of somebody shifting in their chair a little bit and saying, okay, what is she saying and why is she saying that? So we did that 10 years ago with SheThePeople. And today I'm doing that with Menopause and Gytree.
No, I think that's very great. And I love how you define the audience, right? Like, we are 50% of the population. It is the majority purchase decisions are made by women. So it constitutes to such a big aspect. And I agree with you. Women empowerment is, of course, where women are getting the space to empower themselves. Some of them are already empowered. But I do see it on the flip side that women are scared. Even though we have so many platforms, like even today, being a young founder, I have so many friends who are founders. I'm a very vocal person, so I come in front of camera and I'm talking and speaking, and they're like, oh my god, like what if I come on the reel and what if somebody passes a comment or does something or says something rude, like how am I going to deal with it? So I think there's also a segment of people who, like women themselves, like they say the imposter syndrome, right, which is always a word tagged around with women founders. It kind of plays a role. So what do you think can help change that? Because like just from where I come, I just feel at this point, okay, everyone's talking about women empowerment. What's so different? What's so great?
Yeah.
So where is it? How is it that the women are coming face front? Because so many of them are just so scared till you kind of shake them up and be like, take the chance. Probably this is going to be a great platform for you.
So I think there are lots of things to unpack there, right?
Yeah.
One, this peppering of the term, phrase, women empowerment everywhere. Every single person I meet today, whether they're making fast fashion or sustainable, everybody wants to empower women, right? I think it's overused.
Yeah.
I think the term is leading to some amount of decaying of the idea that's being, the idea that women need change and opportunity and equal access, because we are just using it loosely.
Yeah.
I think let's be clear about some things though. One, women today require equal access, equal opportunity, and our statistics are still pathetic.
Okay.
Only last year, which is 2025, the total number of CEOs who are women have finally outnumbered the number of CEOs who are called John. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm just giving you perspective. Second is that everyone who's tired of the words women empowerment, gender equality, equal pay for equal work, we've been just talking about it. We're doing nothing about it so far. It'll take 235 years before
Agreed.
women will have equal pay for equal work.
Yeah.
That's just not 235 years. It's 2.5 centuries, right? Let that sink in. I think the facts on the table are so blatant, right? I hear this from both men and women. Oh my God, yet another conversation about women. And I'm like, how come when all the conversations are about men, nobody is feeling suffocated?
Right.
The par for the course conference is more men, few women. When I started SheThePeople, so many of my female friends back in the day guilted me for saying, why do you need a women's platform? You're actually segregating further. I said, the only reason I need a women's platform today, and I will need it for at least a few more decades. I would have been so happy if I had to shut it down. But my work hasn't finished. Because in a normal conference, the female is the moderator.
Yeah.
The men are the speakers. In conferences that we build, the women are the speakers. I get male moderators. I want women to be seen as builders and scientists and mathematicians and founders.
Yeah.
But that's not how we portray women, right?
Yeah.
So I think we have a long way to go to correct the stats. In a country where in the organized sector only 25% is the female workforce, shame on us, yeah?
Yeah.
In the US, that number is 55. Yeah. So even if we were to just increase this workforce by 5%, we would be talking about a few billion dollars added to the economy. So start looking at women as economics and suddenly you start getting excited. And that's what I love about startups. I mean, this is whole like a founders conversation. Startups are like, man, sell to women, they're buyers.
Yeah, like I would,
you couldn't possibly bought a house without getting a woman involved. You wouldn't you wouldn't buy or decide the color of the car you're buying without a woman.
So many of my clients finalize their logos with what their wife likes. So I mean, that's literally how it works. So.
Yeah. Just they should also let the wife have half the business of that logo, okay?
Yeah.
That would be useful.
No, so I think what you also mentioned about economics, I found it very interesting. So I get this a lot because I host the podcast, right? They're like, oh, so you're bringing women founders, so people who are women should hear it. I was like, no, we are speaking about business. Male, female, anyone, any gender who's working requires to learn about AI. It's not like women need to learn about AI, right?
Nobody asked this question to a sports anchor only interviewing sports people.
Right.
I just never get that, right?
And that's very, very true. Like that frustration of like, why only women? You spoke about like journalism to founder, right? True, because journalism is such like, I would say you go on to the stats, facts, and then you're kind of putting it out as words, but founder is all about people, numbers, and a mix of other hats that you kind of take. So how was that shift for you from journalism to being a founder? And what skills of a journalist do you think really helped you pick your business up?
Yeah, it's called a thick skin. When you're a journalist, you had to shove your mic in faces of politicians, in faces of people who don't want to give you the story. It's a hard job. One of the things that I've learned in journalism is that no question is stupid. No opportunity should be considered too small. Go out there and do whatever is needed. Which is why even now, I say this to people, just give me the number, I will call, right?
Yeah.
And I think the fascinating story, the backstory of this is that when I wasn't a journalist, I was still in college and I was doing economics honors. A friend of mine was doing journalism at the Times of India. And so she was interning doing this. I said, just take me to that office. I will figure out who to meet. I went, I met an editor, and I was in my first year of college, and I said, I really want to write. So he said, what skills do you have? I said, I can hustle. I don't know what skills I have, but my English is good. But I really need the money. And he was like, I really needed the money, okay? Because my parents were paying a very small stipend for my tuition and I needed some money to have fun in life. So he said, you'll get 500 rupees an article. I think that was the sweetest thing that I heard. I tried saying, okay, in my head, I was like glazed-eyed and thinking, $500 an article. If I manage 4, I'm home on the party scene. And, you're in first year college. You just need a little extra money. And the guy was like, okay, start writing. Okay, and I started writing a lot of random stuff, from dogs to makeup to confessions to celebrities to Bollywood, everything. So whatever pays the bills.
Yeah.
And when I became a founder, I asked somebody, I said, this fundraising thing is supposed to be really hard. I had to spend a lot of money flying around the country. I said, finally, just give me some 5 email addresses. I'm going to write to them. And one of them just replied saying, okay, we'll give you time to speak. Cool. They became an investor. So the power of the cold call for me is supreme.
Yeah.
My latest investor, I had never known her. That's Tanya Dubash from the Godrej family. I met her for 2 minutes. And I said, menopause exists. Nobody recognizes it. It needs some money. And she cut me a check. And I just say that sometimes it's good not to know people because you go with the sense of like, how bad can it get? Yeah. There's only upside. Yeah. So I think sometimes journalism teaches you that, from hiding in bushes with mics and just emerging in the scene in front of faces to just get that soundbite that you needed. It teaches you a good skill. I think as a founder, one of the things that's really useful is that, if you know that you know the best for your company, or you know this space more than the other, it does kind of give you the confidence to not fall for the traps that they're setting. But because honestly, every investor is setting a trap. Yeah. They want to see how will you navigate those traps. And kid you not, anyone who's giving you money, super smart. They're going to part with their money, okay? Yeah. It's not an easy job. And they would like to know everything about you. So I think the first thing is to know that your character sketch is being drawn before even your business model, your CACs, your ROASs. Nobody cares. Yeah. Okay? People with a lot of CACs and bad ROASs still get funded.
Right. No, that's very interesting. And journalism, I think, gave you that whole go-getter vibe, because I think that's just something I
That was my parents. That wasn't journalism.
Tell me about that. Where did you get that? I love that vibe about it.
So I'm a military child. I spent 12 classes in 17 schools, which basically meant new uniforms, new friends, new books, new syllabus all the time. So that was one. Large number of the times we used to be in military bases where all you could hear were fighter jets. There was no electricity, so you were forced to sit outside and chat with random people and get to know their backstory. Third, you grew up with people who never belonged to your community. You were multicultural, so I'm a bigger dosa idli eater. We almost went to Madras Cafe before we came here. And, it's just one of those things. You're not the prototype that you were born to be. Right. And I think that's just a skill of nimbleness. Yeah. And I think confidence came in largely because my parents were like, okay, pick up the phone. This is how you talk to people. Yeah. They didn't train me about get this math sum right, go study, enough playing. My father would say, this is the tennis Wimbledon final, stop studying, watch this. And that's why I'm now going to watch the final myself today, because some father put that little microcosm in my head when I was in class 3, that you could watch the final and miss doing your homework. I fell in love with tennis. Today, I want to go and watch the Wimbledon live by spending my own money. I was like, wow, that's called empowerment, right? Yes. Like small little things in your life that change your ability to be confident and make the choices on what you're going to spend your money. That's fun.
Yeah.
If I can do half the parenting my parents did, I'll be very happy.
No, I think that this is an empowering story for us also. Like as a young founder, I look up to kind of reaching this level and being able to create this impact, right? For yourself more than just kind of people. And
Thank you.
No, I mean, it's truly inspiring. And, you know, just going back a little into the journalism bit, because that's something also very interesting. Media journalism is nothing like it was before.
Yeah.
I think after COVID as well, and with the way the news kind of flared up and with the way things were happening in India, I think people trust less media than they trust probably the influencers who are making like 10-second reels. What really is the truth with journalism and media today, and where do you kind of see that go? I mean, with podcasts taking such a big toll, with content taking such a big toll, I'm also seeing less youngsters kind of want to kind of be journalists versus want to be creators who can still share that information and get the brand deals.
Yeah.
So, according to you, where's the future headed with this particular industry?
So I think journalism and truth are both at unease with each other. I come from a brand of journalism which actually sat on ethics.
Right.
I was trained by the Hindu and the BBC, and my first job was CNBC. Then I went to NDTV, and then I went to ET now. And I spent these 15 years essentially understanding that you can't tell a story except when you have both sides, right? You can't deliver news until you have verified it. Right. So I think there is a completely different beast of journalism today. I wouldn't necessarily call it journalism. I think news media is mainstream entertainment. If you ask a person running a general entertainment company, they will say they're competing with the folks who are screaming on the news channels, because that's the slot. Either you watch this fictional show or you watch action non-fiction, right? So I think it's just one of those things. What I think is really powerful that's happened for the good is that what's not changed is humanity's belief in good stories.
Yeah.
And there is today scope for people to tell those stories in its truest self. For those who like it slow, for those who like it fast, there are formats.
Yeah.
For those who want to follow creators versus want to follow platforms, both options exist. I think it does put a lot of the onus of learning and judging on the viewer. But then who are we to decide that? Yeah. Why doesn't the viewer, like TRPs were decided by viewers. The BBC in the UK is paid for by the viewers. So essentially the viewers should decide what they want. If today's generation is hungry for drama over substance, they're getting what they want.
Yeah.
They can't later complain that I didn't find depth, right? The fact that today there are evening parties being held to learn the economics of Hal Varian and the Pareto optimal point by the new generation, which suddenly feels important to be part of educative, sexy ideas discussed under a Gen Z brand in a drawing room with a professor, amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Intellect is a fashion accessory. My only hope is, given that I'm a little bit of a sandwich generation, and I have to admit, I don't really enjoy having to prove my damn credibility to this generation, which kind of drives and say, you have only 40,000 followers? I'm like, come back again, okay? I said, do some homework. Ask ChatGPT or Claude, who's Shaili Chopra. It's tiring, okay? And I say this with a great degree of pride, you know. I'm not kind of being boisterous. Yes, I think I have done enough for you to go and search before you come and talk to me. And I think that's the point. People who have substance become more and more secure, even with the rush of this mad doom scrolling life. We smile at little drawing room learning sessions, but we hope that 2 out of those people will use Intellect for the next step rather than as a fashion accessory. So I think we are in the flux, as Claude said after analyzing my Instagram account, it's all about your face. It's not about who you interview. So, you know, it's nuts. I think we're all learning.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think what you mentioned about depth, right? Like, I agree. I think people are more here for the visibility over the depth, because visibility is about the hook, how quickly you...
I know. Hook and hook rate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think you spoke about that, right? Like, is the reel, like, is Reels worth 10 seconds better or like a 3,000 word article? And I think you prefer kind of writing and sharing that out. But that media, that attention span of the consumer is just reducing and reducing and reducing by the day.
It is, but also it's not. Like I spend 4 hours across a week listening to just one podcast.
Okay.
Right? Every morning I spend 30 minutes listening to the best AI podcast in the world to know what's changing. I think people who have depth and substance want depth and substance. With AI, if you haven't yet heard this cliche, garbage in, garbage out. It's the same thing, right?
Correct.
There is no way that a podcast by an actual professor will not finally shine versus a flaky podcast by somebody who's just leveraging on a few brands. Right? I associate only with 5 brands a year.
Yeah.
Every single thing I buy is a brand for which I pay for. I don't have an HMU and 55 things below my thing. Nothing wrong with those who do because their job in Bollywood requires it. But I every day get told, wear our dress and do a circle dance. I'm like, it's not me. I ain't doing that.
Right.
And those who can, I have nothing against them. So there are creators who will do that for you. I'm not interested in free clothes and free sunglasses. It's not me. So I think people will find their following and find their leaders.
Yeah.
Right? We will have a paucity of good leaders for this and the next generation. And it will be the onus on them to find that. Because at some point or the other, shallow will not pay. Depth will.
Yeah, fair enough. I think you spoke so much like a founder over a creator, and it just states that not every founder can be a creator. Because I think that's also...
Not every founder wants to be a creator.
Sorry, that's right. Not every founder wants to be a creator. And I think that's very true. Because a lot of my clients also come to me and they're just like, I know being the face is the thing. I just don't want to be it. Figure a way to make me grow. And I think that's where you kind of find different ways to tap into your audience.
So I have a take on that. We were talking about it this morning with the large panel. I think it's very important for the founder to face their brand out.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. It's not about modeling for your brand. It's about bringing credibility to your brand. Correct. You see, consumers today are calling it out. Hey, acha, they paid so-and-so. इनका आधा कंपनी का पैसा तो वो एक्टर ले गया होगा तो इनके बिजनेस में बचा क्या? Consumers are super smart, okay?
Yeah.
Whether this is from the days that Lal Tel brand was made, or when somebody called out how many brands Amitabh Bachchan is endorsing, or when somebody says that, oh, this diamond company has 14 celebrities, so what will be the quality of their diamond? They couldn't possibly be getting good quality diamonds because they're spending all their money on celebs. So I think there is that rigmarole, right? And even now, consumers do get fooled by seeing all these celebrities and never asking whether their diamond is even worth that spend, right? But there is a place for all of this. At some point, consumers evolve from that flaky purchase behavior to something deeper. So I do feel that for founders who are scared, because I have been that founder, I'm like, why do I want to talk about menopause? I'm not even having a menopause. And people will be like, yeah, how can you talk about it? But I was like, it's an issue. It needs awareness.
Yeah.
And a credible face like mine is bringing awareness to that issue. So exactly that's what happened. I got an external consultant who said, nothing doing, put your face to it. That was the first ad that tripled our revenue. And I'm like, okay, now this is showing in my numbers.
Yeah,
when it shows on the P&L, then you're like, I'm just doing whatever's showing on my P&L. And it's true.
Yeah.
And now the thing is that partly because people think it's relatable to hear about issues like these from a woman who's at least above 40. If a 20-year-old starts giving them creator lectures about menopause, they're like, boss, let's just get real, right? So I think it's just a little bit of that. But most importantly, it's like for me that I'm the one going to the factory. Why shouldn't I tell my user that I go to the factory? I publish the date on which I go to the factory on my platform. So people know what we're doing. Every morning for 3 years, I have been drinking our protein blend before it went into the market 2 years ago. So I just think that's very important for credibility. I wouldn't recommend founders running away from being the face of their brand. Right. My friend Devita Saraf did this for Woo Televisions 15 years ago. I swear, I thought she was so gutsy. today that's the starting point.
Right.
It's very cool.
Yeah, like today it is the starting point. Being the face is literally the start. So let's talk a little bit about you building Gytree, right? I think it's very interesting that you're focusing on menopause as a segment. We're just talking about it, and I understand, because when my mom went through menopause, I don't think there was a gynac guiding her. It was just her own intuitions and remedies that, okay, today I'm feeling a little heaty, I'm going to have ice cream, and tomorrow I'm going to feel a little better, and this is how things work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, traditionally also, because periods anyway is such a taboo, so many women themselves are like, it's my problem, I need to figure it out.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, there's some place for help. So let me first start with a question that young women need to know is, what is menopause? How does it start? And then kind of diving into how is Gytree actually helping women with menopause?
Okay, so menopause is the stopping of your period. Wow, I know, we're all waiting for it. But what happens before that is this absolute roller coaster. It's the period of perimenopause, which is essentially typically after 40. That's when your body starts getting these aches and pains, your periods go irregular, and then you get moods, and then you ask yourself, who is this woman in the mirror? And then you find answers for nothing that you ask. Essentially, it's a period of tumult, and what's going on in your body is that you've got hormones. Your key hormone that gives you all the action in life, called estrogen, is actually declining now pretty rapidly. It starts declining in your 30s and even in your 20s a little bit, but 20s is the peak. That's why all glow, all sunscreen, all creams. You're at the top of everything.
Yeah.
And fertility cycles, all the lectures about having babies in your 20s. But estrogen is declining pretty fast. So you're actually going downhill on the roller coaster. And that's leading to a lot of changes. So menopause predominantly will be this period of just before it finally stops.
Right.
Feels like it'll be weeks. It's 10 years. Let that sink in. It's 10 years. For some people, it's 5 or 8, but it could be up to 10 years. And it's a madhouse, right? And then during this time, you'll have less and less sleep. You'll be overthinking. Yeah, that adds up. And then you're going to be having aches and pains. As my doctor said when I went to the gynac, 40s is the worst decade of your life. And I think everyone will say that. So who needs to fix it? Your gynac will not fix it. When I went to my gynac, she said, I am essentially trained to manufacture kids. That's a lucrative business. Fertility clinics everywhere. Why? Lucrative business. Menopause actually finds majority of its answers in managing the period of menopause, which means you have to manage sleep, you have to manage statistics, you have to manage protein levels, you have to manage calcium. You've got to manage everything that bothers you.
Right.
Right. Which partly means what you said at the start. You are alone in it. Yeah. And let me say it loud and clear that you are alone in it, because the support system is living in the dark ages. So what do you do? This was the question on the table when Gytree was coming up. And we asked women, what do you want? Unequivocally, women said, make me a few packets, which I open, mix, cook, drink, feel better.
Got it.
And fundamentally, think about it, women are no different than any other part of humanity.
Yeah.
We all want convenience. We have a lot to do otherwise.
Yeah.
We are lazy because we don't want to get up and exercise too much. So you're essentially, one-way ticket is to improve what you eat and how you supplement.
Correct.
Okay. Everything else is an add-on, and hopefully that'll add to betterment from that line of control. So I think essentially your entire perimenopause, menopause, or even post-menopause is truly about how do you manage it, and which essentially means that it is something that you have to think hard about, make multiple decisions multiple times,
Correct.
Do trial and error, and of course come to Gytree to figure out how we can help you. I genuinely think that that's the reason we wanted to build this.
Yeah.
As a business, look at my lifetime value.
Yeah.
My customer comes, loves me, stays with me. I mean, the customers who... I have 60 orders from one customer for the last, 4 or 5 quarters. And every time I call her, she's like, I realize ye bhi aap kar rahe ho. This suited me, that also works for me. The best part about the female customer, if she loves you once, she'll love you again and again. They're not fickle-minded. They're like, कौन सोचेगा 10 बार 10 चीजें का एक person मिल गया है, एक system मिल गया है. I understand. Our AI will remember your history. whenever you come back, if you had said that you had joint aches, it will remind you what all to do in joint aches. It will tell you which cycle of your hormones you are in, if you have rough idea of when your period was.
Yeah.
So these are the things, right? No other platform that's built just as a buy your packet in the store will tell you that abhi you need mood boost, not weightlifting.
Right.
Or at some point you need something else.
Yeah.
So I think that personalization you can only create when you know your customer well.
Yeah. I think you kind of have lived with women, understanding women of
Yes.
all generations and ages, and you yourself have gone through so many journeys, right?
Yeah.
So you're very right, like menopause is that scary feeling. Honestly, I didn't even know it lasted for 10 years. I just thought that's the way your periods go, but maybe now I'm not that excited for my periods to leave after listening to this.
I know a lot of women say that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
many women come on our shows and say, I was so unhappy with periods. Menopause makes periods look so good.
Yeah. I think this conversation is definitely changing that. One last question. So,
Yes.
on the FoundHers podcast, we believe that every woman out here is finding something. So, what
Yeah.
is it that you're finding?
I am finding the best tiramisu in India. I'm still finding it. But I don't know. I think I don't like finding much. Because you find something every day. You are finding new things every day. I love packaging, so I spend a lot of time just thinking about how pretty my things could look. And then my consumer was like, I take a knife and go through it in the heart. Please don't make anything. मैं जैसे packages खोलती हूँ, आपकी packaging में देखूंगी भी नहीं. I'm like, consumer की सुनो. Don't bother. अंदर की packaging अच्छी कर लो. Cards लिख दो, messages छोड़ दो. Don't waste your time doing this डब्बा जिसके ऊपर 10 sticker लग के as it is. People are like, God knows how many people have touched it in its cup. You know, things like that. So I am finding strange answers to my well thought out, articulated ideas which are getting bumped off every day. I'm like, let's find answers. I mean, I kid you not, there's too much to find.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know.
No, that's so interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I think your journey of finding answers is kind of stuck with you from probably your young age. You're finding answers with facts, and now you're finding answers with probably the strangest responses, because I think that's what entrepreneurship and being a founder is like.
Yeah,
right?
I would recommend that the best strange answer to everything that you are unsure about is no. My dad has 2 daughters. Much earlier than he would have liked, they learned to say no. And we're very happy.
Nice.
What not to do as a founder is a lesson you should learn before you know what to do as a founder.
Correct.
Very important.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing this.
Thank you for having me.
Really insightful, and I think so engaging, because you threw so many different stats, but I think so many different facts, right, about how to kind of build and grow. And for somebody as young as me, I think it's just inspiration that if you keep going and keep learning with what your customers are telling you, somewhere you'll make it.
Yeah.
And yeah, no millionaire was born or made at like 30, right? You take your own time and you kind of figure your pace with it. So
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you.
Thank
you
you
so much. I hope you liked this episode of the FoundHers Podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one.